Good morning on this Friday. And here we are, we're back with you with some pre-added time. I'm John Scott and I'm joined by Mr. Mike Mad Dog Angus, who I'm sure is pretty mad in other ways as well. But yeah, what a week it's been. Coming up, we're going to literally fly back in all the midweek Premier League action, as well as take a glimpse into all the weekend's action, because it's been a busy couple of weeks, non-stop Premier League football. We'll tell you when and where you can watch it. Don't forget, if you want to get in on the comments, let us know. Drop us any predictions or any thoughts on the games, and especially give us your thoughts on, is it completely over at the top? We keep saying it every week, but is that it now? Is the nail in the coffin? Also at the bottom of the league as well, let's not forget it's getting quite tense down there as well, with some of the results coming in. But Mike, how you doing first of all?
Yeah, not too bad at all, John. Great to see you, and a big hello to everybody out there watching today. We've had a good few matches in the Premier League midweek, and then we've got a great weekend to look forward to. So I'll let you take it away and run through all the action. John, what have we got?
Absolutely. Do you know what, Mike? I thought, let's just get it out of the way with. It's the big topic, isn't it, from last night? Let's just start with that, and then we'll go back on the others. But of course, this result, Mike, I'm sorry to flash it up there in front of your face, but of course, Liverpool 0, Chelsea 1. I know you was watching it last night. I was clicking in and out of our group chat, seeing what was going on. Got to ask you, Mike. It's worth just handing this over to you, being a Liverpool fan. Obviously, this is the 5th defeat, I believe, at home as well for you guys. Did you expect another defeat like that? Was you going into this thinking we're over that now, we've got to get this back on track, especially at Anfield? Give us your sum up of last night, my friend, as you was watching it.
Yeah, so another disappointing one, unfortunately, John. Going into the game, there were some positives. Jota was back in the squad. There was Fabinho back into the team there in the heart of defence. So it was looking, like we had a good team out. But Chelsea's always a threat, and they've looked decent this season. The new couple of players, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, haven't quite settled in, but they've picked up the pace in the last couple of weeks. And I was concerned, but then when the match got started, both teams looked pretty good. There was chances at both ends, but as you said, it was our 5th home loss on the run, which is the first time in our history that's ever happened. So
right,
really disappointing. And I did say, if this had been a normal season, one, you would have had fans rioting at the ground. There would not, people in Liverpool just wouldn't accept these results at all. Unfortunately, if it had been a normal season, Klopp may have been, in big trouble at the moment. But as it is, it's not a normal season at all. It's being played behind closed doors. The injuries are obvious, but anyone can make excuses. We still had chances in this game, and we didn't take them. The goal itself, I felt that Mason Mount scored, was a great goal by him, but it was just too soft. Fabinho had come across to cover for Trent. Trent was right behind him. How that ball got past both of them, and Kabak, was standing in the way as well, and the goalkeeper, it shouldn't be going in against our defence. And well played to Mason Mount. It was a good goal, but I still think we could have done better with that. And I felt like we had a lot of chances that we missed. Robbo had one early doors that was, that he could have blazed into the top, and instead he's put it into the crowd somewhere. There was chances for Mane, for Firmino, and it just wasn't good enough. And the mad thing to look at is that a team that were functioning so well last season and the seasons before just seem to be in disarray up front. And for me personally, I just spoke to a lot of people about it, but I think a lot of it has come from Virgil van Dijk missing as that linchpin at the back, and the way that they brought the midfield back to help in defence has took away the whole attacking elements of it for us, and has broke down the whole system we were playing. Basically, was the fact that you had your midfielders could drop back and cover for your defenders to push forward, is what we were doing so well. Instead, now that's just not happening, and our defence just can't cope, and our attack, there's no link up with the attack. And the number of times I sit there watching a game where we're dominating possession, and yet we're just passing it about, pass, 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 and the other teams will just sit back and let us just pass it round, and it's not going anywhere. There was no end. There was no goal, was there? And at the end of the day, I think in the first half we'd had no shots on target. By the end of the first half, we had one shot on target all night, a Gini Wijnaldum effort, I think it was, and just a few of the players still look sluggish. And don't get me wrong, we're not completely out of it, but I do think we're out the title picture, but we're not out the top four fully yet. I think we could still challenge for top four, but my hopes for the season now is the Champions League. I just think out of adversity, Liverpool will, could step forward and have a good run in that. And I think, do your best to finish as well in the league as you can. Give yourselves a bit of pride. Try and get playing again. Try and get that team spirit back. But the things I'm seeing on the internet is all about overhauling it completely over the summer and starting from scratch, because people have sussed us out, and how we were playing and how we were winning those matches. The spark just isn't there at the moment. So I think a big part of it is the crowds not being in, to be honest. And I thought the substitutions were a bit strange yesterday as well. On about 60, 65 minutes, he brought Mo Salah, who arguably was playing pretty well, and Curtis Jones, who's played brilliantly recently. I thought he was one of the most exciting and adventurous players on the pitch, and would have been. I understand he wants to look after the defence, but if you've got to go for that goal and go for the win, then Thiago could have come off earlier for me. He's still not quite playing at the level I've seen him play in past seasons for other clubs, and he hasn't quite settled in for us. And I think he's a great player, but he hasn't fitted in with the system. And if anything, he's disrupting the system worse. Holding up the play when people are making runs. And I do think he'll come good for us. Hi, Lewis, by the way, just popped up in the chat there. I do think he'll come good for us overall, but it's not this season. It's not happening for us at all. So we've got Fulham at the weekend, and it's at Anfield, and we've got to end that streak. 5 is where it ends. That's in the history books now. That's the worst run Liverpool have ever had. It's in the history books. We've got to crack on now, and no more messing about. And I want to see some. Klopp should be absolutely fuming. I want to see some rage. We don't need excuses. We just need the team to get back on track, get a bit of confidence back in, and start playing a bit of football, because other teams are coming to Anfield looking a lot more lively and looking like they're happy to play there, whereas we don't look like we're happy to play there at the moment. We look like anything but. So, not a great game at all. Chelsea had a disallowed goal as well in the first half, which was it was offside. But, I looking at that, I just thought, they've scored here. And then, it was just disappointing. And then our response after that was positive. We had a spell where we looked pretty decent. But, I still feel like we have better players than Chelsea and are a better team than Chelsea. And yet last night's result shows last night were the better team. So, not happy. We can probably go into this as well. There was one thing which is, it's aside from everything. I didn't pay much attention to it at the time. But then, because of other news coming out of other matches, obviously Kante handled the ball in the box at one point, and I thought, that's a penalty with VAR. How it's been this season, that's a cast iron penalty. Even though we're there, arguably as someone who plays football and has watched a lot of times, I would normally say, it's ball to hand. It's accidental. He hasn't meant that. But his hand was in an unnatural position, because you can't tell me that having your hand over here somewhere that doesn't even come onto our screen here is a natural position. And Trent hit the ball up at it, or I think it was Trent, it might have been Curtis, crossed, went to put a cross in. It hits the guy on the hand. For me, VAR, the ones they've given earlier on in the season, that's a penalty. And, arguably from that moment, it's a completely different game. But it wasn't given. VAR did look at it, and I thought, how on earth can they not give that and then give other similar ones? And from that, I'm sure we'll mention later on, but there was one which was given in a match, which was, I would say, a lot more innocuous, and his hand was completely down by his side. So we'll speak about that later on, I'm sure. But how can one of them be given and the goal? The goal in that situation was a goal disallowed, whereas the other one's no penalty. That was just baffling to me to see them two next to each other on the same night and be like, one guy's been punished when he really hasn't seemingly done anything, and yet this other guy's got his hand out blocked across the denies a goal scoring opportunity. You've just got to clarify them rules. It's got to be, they've got to make sense, and it's got to be, yes, if you've got your hands up in the air, it's a handball. It's hit his hand. Doesn't matter how hard the guy's hit it at him. It's hit him on his hand. He's used it to block it. It's a penalty. They can't just chop and change the rules. And earlier on in the season, it gets given. So you can't change the rules during the season either, because it's unfair on the other teams. You know what I mean? So that needs sorting out desperately.
Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. I mean, my takeaway from last night, obviously, I saw that Jota was brought back, and a lot of people were saying, that was a slight sign of Klopp's desperation to put him straight back into the team, because they felt normally he'd be sitting on the bench. And the other thing I took away was, do you think with this whole Anfield issue at the moment, that obviously the more this goes on, Mike, like, it's nothing at the beginning, but I've seen this before with my own team. The more it goes on, the more the players start to doubt themselves as well, and it just adds on more pressure. I know there's no fans there to get on their back, but it's almost like it's becoming that there's something psychologically going on here, because it's not. I mean, Chelsea, let's give their due. They're not a bad team, but there's been other teams that have gone there that I thought they should never be anywhere near close as Liverpool in terms of coming away with the kind of results I've seen. So do you think that's going to play a part, and do you think it's going to be kind of down to Klopp trying to just giving them as much motivation? I mean, I've got a feeling once they get over the hurdle of getting a win, and I do mean a win, probably not a draw, they might start to pick up a better, last 6-7 games of the season, like trying to get some sort of run together. But they need to get over this this home business. I'm really surprised that that's the record as well. I mean, it's incredible, given that you guys have just won the title.
Yeah, well, it is a storm, and when you walk through a storm, you've got to hold your head up high, mate. So I think once they've come through this phase that it is, this bit of whether it's a bit of self-doubt or a bit of a confidence issue, there's a few players who are not performing to their normal abilities, and I think it's just happened all at the same time. Commentators on the footy make a few excuses for us, saying it's burnouts or whatever. They're playing too hard, but there have been a few changes. They've changed. They've gone from Melwood to the new training facility. Whether that's affected them at all, because it's literally since they've moved there that they've had this terrible
Something's
run.
In their wall.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be, but I do think I do think we'll come good again, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later, because it's going to end up being a really embarrassing season. It's definitely going to be the worst defense of a title ever. One thing I'm still annoyed about is the fact that we never even got to have like a celebration of winning the title. I wouldn't be surprised if this is some sort of depression brought on by that, to be honest. Because to not be able to celebrate with your fans when you make your biggest achievements ever, even though it is a huge success, there's always going to be that negativity about it, that they never got to even celebrate or do a parade or anything. Other years, the whole of Liverpool would have just been a party for months, and instead, you've got this whole thing where that wasn't allowed to happen because of COVID. There's no fans in the ground now, and I just think all these things added up together have just happened at the worst time for us, with the injuries and everything. And I do think we'll come back better than ever. And it could be, hopefully, it'll be later on this season. It could be next season after they've had a bit of a break and got themselves back on track. But I wouldn't write us out the title picture for next season, because I think we're going to be we're going to be like angry beasts coming back after this season,
Yeah.
especially if we've got fans there, which are literally like a 12th man for us at Anfield. So it's disappointing. It's not what we wanted to see, but it's what's happened, and you've just got to move on. And you've got Fulham at the weekend, and Fulham have looked good recently, and well, until last night, they'd looked like they were on the ascendancy and could get out of that
Good.
bottom four. But things are not looking quite the same for them now, and a defeat from us at the weekend could be curtains for them. So they'll be going into the fight, and we need to too.
Yeah, I mean, just to finish up on that game last night, I don't want to take anything away from Chelsea because they did go with a bit of a game plan, and it paid off for Mr. Tuchel and him going forward. It's certainly helping his case at the moment with some of the fans that are maybe not too on board with him as yet. It will take a bit of time, I'm sure. But I think just to sum up, and my last part on Liverpool, mate, is that we spoke about Man City last week on Added Time about, them thinking that they needed to take all their players out and reshuffle everything. But like they've come back this season and he's probably looking at it now on paper and thinking, I kind of don't need to do that as much. I just needed to maybe add three quality players in the summer, maybe. But they certainly don't need to do the overhaul that they thought they were going to have to because of these players getting a little bit on and, Aguero and all the rest of it. I think, they're in good stead. So I think it's the same for Liverpool. And also, if you go back in history, I mean, it's very hard to maintain that high standard that Liverpool have set themselves. They're almost like it's a tough thing to keep up. You're never going to have the season you did last season. I mean, that's just a complete one-off. I mean, you guys had won that title miles ahead of time. So it was always going to be difficult to duplicate. I think just people are kind of more worried because of how bad it's got. But I kind of get the feeling, Mike, that to be honest with you, I think the players might have subconsciously in their minds knew it was over a little bit before time and maybe just thought this season is we'll just play for the Champions League. The league is the league, but we'll go for a trophy elsewhere. And I mean, if Klopp comes out with a Champions League, we look back at this as a wonderful season, don't we? So it's kind of crazy football how it moves and how we generally look back on things. But it would be a successful season if Liverpool won the Champions League. Make no mistake about it. And trust me, Man City want that more than anything at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. As you rightly said, also from last night, we had Fulham up against my side Spurs. For the first time, I looked at a team sheet, Mike, and I saw the four players playing at once for the first time all season. That was Dele Alli, Gareth Bale, Son and Kane all starting for the first time. And it was a bit of a shock to the system under Mr. Mourinho. He did, after a while, go into that second half. It's what I call saved the game. He saves the game on like a computer game and he thinks, that's it. We're shutting it off now because he brought on Sissoko and Lucas and Bale and Dele went off. So it was like, you've had your fun. Now we're just going to sit and defend. And, listen, I always say if we come out winning, everyone's happy. But what happened last time against Fulham is we did that and they ended up getting a draw. So it was a nightmare. They scored last minute.
That was the and I thought maybe.
No, it was one. It was one. That was the one with West Ham you're thinking about, and the other one with I don't want to even go back to that, but yeah. So I was glad. I was glad that they didn't do the same old thing and give that last go away. I think defensively we're a bit better. I'm much more happy with Ndombele and Højbjerg, to be fair, as a central two rather than having Sissoko in there as well, because I think we play way too deep if Sissoko's in there as well. But bringing him on at the end, I would rather we be 2-0 up and do that rather than 1-0. But because the problem is, Mike, like if they get a goal back, you've taken off all your great attacking players and creative players, and it's like what you got left. But on a positive note, Dele Alli was man of the match last night. He looked really sharp given, his whole status at the club. And I think that, at the moment, it looks very positive that Jose might start believing in him a little bit more. And Gareth Bale, this was his third game on the trot that he'd started, and he looks like he's coming back. What it does give us, Mike, I think personally, is when we play Lucas or Lamella, with Kane and Son, what tends to happen is teams don't really fuss over Lucas or Lamella that much, but they do seem to take notice of Gareth Bale now. And what it does, it draws defenders away, so they start going 2 up on him, and then it leaves the likes of Son and Kane with much more space than they've had in a while, because every team we come up against, they know it's the combination of Son and Kane. So to have something else out there gives us a little bit of a spark. So again, I was quite happy with that. I did predict that result. I got one right at last.
You got one.
Yeah.
I don't think I picked any 1-0s this week, and then everything was 1-0.
Exactly. I wish I'd have done that all the way through, but yeah, good win for us. Fulham were unlucky, I've got to say. I don't think that the goal they scored, I think that should have been given, quite frankly. I mean, that was harsh with the whole handball that they got. So I was shocked when it was overturned, to be honest with you. I thought it was 1-1 and here we go again, but they didn't rule it. Just really bad luck for Fulham. I still think Fulham are a decent side, you know. I mean, Scott Parker, he hasn't got a whole load of players to pick from on a weekly basis, but they do play good football. They do their absolute max. I mean, if they go down, they've gone down with a fight, in my opinion, because whenever I've watched them, they always look like a decent side, not just attractive football, but they look like they want to, you know, mix it up with some of the elites. So yeah, unfortunate, I think, for them. But yeah, what was your take on last night? Did you see any of the game at all, Mike?
Yeah, I watched it all back, and you know, Dele Alli, as you said, looked sharp. His goal was great, well taken. You know, nice little touch into the bottom corner there. As you said, Fulham did have a couple of chances. Lamina drilled one right in stoppage time that could have gone in. You know, Lloris had to save a few. You know, I thought I agree about the handball was in that one. I thought was ridiculous. I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's got his hand by his side, and the ball has been drilled at him, and then it's just bounced off him. He hasn't even won possession from it. In fact, he's blocked, you know, one of his own team's shots. You know, so and then it's dropped back to Maya, was it? And he's buried it. And I honestly think that was ridiculous and shouldn't have been disallowed. So you know, that would have made it 1-1, different story. But instead, you know, you guys have seen them off. And as you say about Fulham, we've spoke about them a couple of times on the show, and we said if anyone was going to get out of that bottom 4, we thought Fulham might have had a chance. But then the matches are slipping away now, and Newcastle and Burnley are just ahead of them. Seem to be getting okay results. And that was one yesterday where Fulham, you know, potentially would have thought maybe we will get a point here, and maybe should have. But they're slipping away now. They've not got many matches left to do that. You know, they've got to get out there. West Brom are looking a bit better as well, having some good appearances. And you know, I think you know, it looks more and more likely that the bottom 4 is gonna stay the same, to be honest. But we'll just have to see the next couple of games. If you know, Fulham have got to come to Anfield and get a result now, simple as. And you know, I think Liverpool need to look at this and say, you know, we've messed up, but like, there's no pressure on us now. You know, we've just got to go out and play a bit of football and do what we can do. And, you know, you know, you might just find suddenly that the light bulb just comes on and, you know, someone gets trounced by us again. But it's, you know, that's a long shot at the moment after the way we played yesterday. And,
we'll
Fulham, it's going to be tough for Fulham, though, mate. It's going to be tough for them. And it was unlucky they didn't get that draw, because what time in the match did that happen, by the way? Was that right near the end?
Yeah, that was in the second half. But they still had I think we still had a good 25 minutes to play, so it would have changed the game up a lot. And they were on the front foot at the end of the first half, in my opinion. So they were getting that momentum. But yeah, I want to bring up another result now. This is, of course, from last night. West Brom 0, Sam Allardyce, the man's potential staying up could be coming to an end as well. Obviously, Everton winning. And with that, I want to bring in the number 1 Everton fan. He's on the walks. He's on the trail somewhere. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring him in. Mr. Stu Palmer, there he is.
I look like I'm on the back. Look like I'm on the back of a boat. Deadliest catch with this on, don't I?
It's this new TV show.
Fly by.
Hey, I don't think Chris will like that when you called me the number 1 Everton fan. He's on for 2 Sundays. You might see his
1.1. 1.1. There you go.
I'm very happy with that last night. The first half was a bit touch and go. But West Brom had it early on. Anyway, so happy with that result in the end. The balance of play, but Calvert-Lewin should have put that chance away in the first half. That could have been crucial, couldn't it? But much better in the second half. Brought Allen on. He left it about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Angelotti. That's the difference now. If he's got to make a change, he'll make it. He couldn't play Allen for another 90 minutes off the back of 2 months out. But that was the difference. Absolutely. Sigurdsson coming on as well. As much as I've said about Sigurdsson being a bit subpar, brilliant, 45 seconds and he's put an assist in. But they should have been out of the box and should have been on him. Do you know what I mean? It was quite easy. It's made all too easy for him. But all in all, good. Richarlison's in form now, so it kind of takes the pressure off Calvert-Lewin. I mean, Richarlison's bagging the goals, isn't he now? So that takes the pressure off. But he couldn't buy a goal. Richarlison, he was out of form, wasn't he? So we're looking good. Carlo smashing it. Carlo smashing it. To be fair, I was a bit dubious with that offside. I know he was off just marginally, but Pickford should have been coming for that. See when that cross went in, I was up in arms, and I don't know what Sam Allardyce is on about that penalty shout either. That wasn't a penalty. Didn't he got? He's saying Holgate took him out. So I didn't see that, but just
they want anything they can get, mate. I think poor old West Brom. At this stage, that's for sure. But yeah, you guys, Stu, I mean, Everton are looking good again. I mean, I know they had that little, mess up with the home game. But I mean, you guys have beat Liverpool. Sorry, Mike. And you look like you're back on track again, mate. I mean, top 4 with Leicester looking the way they're looking at the moment. You could be in with a real shout towards the end of the season.
Thing is, right? It's just we've had the most players out in the Premier League. Not the most amount of time injured. Liverpool have had the most time with players out injured, right? But we've had the most players out throughout this, So I think we've done very well off the back of that, considering. But it's just it's game by game because you just don't know, do you, lads? In that league, we got Chelsea on Monday. I'd take a point. I would take a point. I've got to be fair the way they're playing. Tuchel's getting the points, isn't he? I've knocked him.
He's coming doing it.
It's just like, I don't know. My man Ben Godfrey was good last night again, by the way.
He was solid. He was solid in that game.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads. I'll let you jump in now.
No, it's been good to see you, buddy. Mate, you know what we're going to get, Stu? We're going to get comments. Is Stu a fisherman? Is he about to go on his boat? And where can we watch the show?
What have you caught today, Stu?
Oh, bit of bass. Bit of bass.
About to cook it.
Billy bass, one of them big mouth ones that sings.
The old, bloody hell. Just like got the steps in, boys. You know what I mean? But as I say, we're where we are. But dropped. I know everyone's dropped points. I'm just annoyed. We'd be up there now with Leicester and United. But I think we can potentially. I think we can push for it. Robbie Mustoe was doing NBCSN's coverage the other night. He reckoned we'd be top 6. Tim Howard was a bit partisan. He was like, yeah, they can probably get top 4. We'll see. It's very tight up there.
Yeah, no, you're right there, buddy. Mate, I reckon if you do get that boat, you could get round to the docks and you're about to see the new stadium. I'm guessing that's where he's been this morning. He's been scouting it. He wants to know how he can get there.
I can't wait when they start breaking ground with that and they're actually building on it. That's going to be fantastic.
Have they got an official time on that now that you
2024? And one of the Liverpool councillors is a red, but he was made for the area. He said fantastic.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
As much as we like to, dog each other and have a little bit of a snipe every now and again, but no, it's not a bad rivalry, Everton and Liverpool. It's quite. You got split families, haven't you? Some are blues, some are reds. Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to get down there. I'm going to miss Goodison. I know we've touched upon that. I'm gonna miss the old lady, but it does look fantastic, and it does remind me of your ground, John, a little bit. Like, I don't think it's as big, but it's very similar to Spurs in a way. We've got the big, the big stand behind the goal, like you've got, a bit like Dortmund have. So that's where I'd like to sit when it's built.
Still be.
That's right behind the goal, boys. That's where I like to be.
Yeah, the only crazy thing about Tottenham Stadium is it is literally just like, it's like a spaceship's just turned up in the middle of London, because it is literally just, you've got a row of houses straight outside. So whereas you guys got that nice area to space out, Tottenham's is nothing like that. It's literally on a street road.
It's got the longest bar, hasn't it, John?
It has, yes, the longest bar.
Me and Mike is like that.
That's the way
you
forward.
go all the way round every seat. Well, let's move on to some other games then, because earlier in the week we had Manchester City. Now, I predicted 1-1, and it was looking like that, and then I messaged in the group and it turned to this, and I actually put that on there that would happen and all, and then in the last 10 minutes it did. So Man City 4, Wolves 1. What do you make of that, boys?
Yeah, I thought it was City just dominated the first half, didn't they? And then they let Wolves sneak one back in. Great header by Connor Cody, brilliant goal. And but then, last sort of 10 minutes, Wolves just looked like they went off the pace a little bit. Maybe it was the fitness, maybe it was the substitutions, but City just turned it on and just eased the game away from them. And I think, John, if you hadn't have said that in the group and predicted that 4-1, it wouldn't have happened. To be honest, I think we were on for the 1-1 till you did the added time.
Myself.
I'm not sure if you should get the points for that, really. You did predict it.
Yeah. Minus. But Man City just strength to strength. I mean, I just don't, there's no stopping them at the minute. They can just turn it on. This is what they were doing that first time round when they completely dominated the league. They were just like waiting 60 minutes or so, and then they go to town. They really start to play, and I think they've been doing that a lot more. They've been coming back to them old selves a little bit more in these games, and again, there's not much pressure for them as well now, so they can play this wonderful, attractive football quite freely again.
It's just crazy, and we've got a little weasel in the fantasy league in work. He's got Jesus. Yeah. Hey, come on, man. And I tell you what, I tried to capitalise on the double game week. I've had a shocker because everyone's injured. But yeah, I was like, Jesus on the double late on. Come on, he's a jammy sod. He is. I'm sick of it. He doesn't know football like the rest of us. It's like, but yeah, good win. I thought like yourself, John. I thought you were in for the full 5 points. I really did late on, but they just they turn it on. They just turn it on at nothing. But yeah, everyone else is much of a muchness, aren't they? They're just by far and away the best team.
Yeah. Also, we also have Sheffield United beating Aston Villa from last night. This was a real shocker, I suppose, for most of us. But 1-0. I know everyone will think that's a terrible result for Aston Villa, but I think on the big scheme of things, like most of what this season about is staying up again, and they've done all that. They've played great football. They're still in a decent position for me. I mean, you're always going to have these little flip ups, especially this season. So it's a bad result, but it's kind of not, if you know what I mean, for them. On the whole, I think if you look at Aston Villa's season, the results they've got have been actually quite decent. So if I was a Villa fan, I wouldn't be too heartbroken about this. But did you guys catch any of this at all?
Yeah. They've slipped a bit, Villa, but you can't put it on one man. But I think you can in this instance, and without Grealish pulling the strings, it's hard work. I was surprised. I know Barkley's been injured and stuff. He was on the bench, Barkley. I'm surprised he didn't start him. Just get him in there, and Ollie Watkins is good for a goal, but sometimes it's just one of them games, isn't it? But yeah, Chris Wilder will be happy with that, but they're just too far off, I think, aren't they? Sheffield United, it's gone. But
That McGoldrick goal was a good poacher's goal, wasn't it, Stu?
He's been. Do you know what? He's good. He's been good for a goal, McGoldrick. He's been fantastic. Like, he's been so good. I remember him at championship level scoring goals. You know what I mean? He was at Ipswich years ago. He's been good. He's been good for him, but it's just too far gone, isn't it? But you never know. they might win 5 on the spin. Stranger things have happened this season. Jags sent off.
Bit harsh.
Good old Jags.
I thought it was a bit harsh. Did you see it, Stu?
Yeah. It's bless him. Like, he's still going. It's mental.
I feel like it was a sending off for me. I think a yellow card would have sufficed for that. Did you see it, John?
Is John there?
I think he's just froze slightly, but
it was like, I think Sonny touched upon it with Villa, Mike, about Matty Cash being out as well at fullback. They've missed Matty Cash at the back. Sonny did say, I'm sure it was Sonny the other week.
Yeah,
you know, they lose a couple of players, but off the back of last season just staying up, it's fantastic for them. You know, they're clear now, aren't they? So, you know, they're always. It's just Grealish, and I've knocked Grealish, as I've said before. I didn't think he was all that, but he's fantastic. I've got to eat my words.
You didn't like the little shin pads, did you, Stu? You said
no. It's like, you know, he's more worried. To me, it was like prima donna. He's more worried about his hair. I'm only jealous because he's got a good head of hair. Like, but yeah, you know, it's all very. He's flashy looking, but he does the business, and I'm sure, you know, Southgate will look to him, and I think Mason Mount is going to be pushing to get in that England team. I know I've changed that midfield around a little bit, like, you know, Declan Rice. He's sport for choice in that middle. We've got, like I was going to say, I'm Welsh. You know, in midfield,
we know you support England as well. We know what it's like.
Mum put me in the England kits. Don't forget, being from the Wirral Light. So there you go. But he's spoiled for choice in that middle, boys. I know I'm going off on a tangent here a little bit, but yeah, Mason Mount is in form. He's been fantastic. Just to speak about him, but yeah, it's you know, Harry Kane and Calvert-Lewin. I'd try them both at the same time if I was Southgate.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had some bad connection, but I'm back now with a bit of luck. The other result we have here: Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. Another interesting one there. What did you make of that?
Thought it was foggy. Don't know if you got to watch it at all, guys. I just wrote foggy down on my notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interesting thing I saw in that match was Rashford and Maguire's had a bit of an argument, didn't they? That wasn't what I was expecting to see. And, yeah, I'm sure Sonny would have a lot to say about this, but I think Man United have games where they play really well and they show up, and then they have games where they just look a little bit quieter, and this was one of them where they squandered chances and they just didn't look as good or as exciting as they do in other games. And coming up against City next, you know, if they play anything like that, they'll be in big trouble. So we'll have to see at the weekend. But yeah, Palace did enough in that one to get the draw, and you know, Palace are pretty clear now at the bottom there. They're a good 3 points more ahead, aren't they, than the other couple of the teams down there? So I think they're pretty safe. So yeah, good result for them. And it was not very nice conditions to be playing in that night, I tell you.
That'll be one of their excuses.
Bloody hell! I want Sonny Garner in here now.
Yeah.
And did we have one more match?
Shocked by it, or... Yeah, we do. We've got. Go on, mate.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, I'm jumping in. They said on commentary about Fernandes on commentary. Some of the misplaced passes, he was off it. But they made a valid point actually on commentary. Why play him in a Europa League second leg when they're 4-0 up? He needed resting. I think Sonny will agree with that as well. He wasn't with it, but they do miss Pogba in that role where, you know, Fernandes is having to do a bit more, isn't he, going back in that? But it's bad. And now I'm hearing certain sectors of the United fans are saying that Ollie Ollie's not doing it again. We've got all this going on now, which I think is just unfounded, and it's not warranted at all. Who are they going to get in? Who are they going to get in exactly? I think he's done well. I think he's done well, to be fair. But that's all starting up again now because they've drawn away at Palace. They're a bit fickle for my liking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain sectors of the fan base.
Yeah, no, I agree. And lastly, we've got Burnley 1, Leicester 1. I mean, again, Leicester just, struggling a little bit. We did discuss them last time. And I think, even though Burnley got squashed by us, I still thought Burnley were unlucky. I think it was mainly because of that early goal we scored against them. But they look good, to be honest with you. I mean, for the first half, they were kind of controlling most of it. And I know that when we had Danny on, he was talking about lack of creativity, strikers that they might need, a goal scorer. But they actually looked like they were decent. I mean, considering they got walloped by us, they come straight out. Dyche had got them right up for it again. And that's what he's really good at, man, management-wise. They very rarely have like two really bad games, and I think they pulled off something decent there. So it's a well-earned point. What did you make of that, boys?
Yeah, I thought the goal early doors for Burnley by Vidra was good. They did have a couple of other good opportunities later on in the game. Obviously, Stu's boy Iheanacho, who he was pushing for to come back on his goal.
I do like to think I'm quite good with players, and I'm sure Steve. Steve said, Steve watches them week in, week out. Sorry, Mike, but yeah, I've called it. Especially because they haven't got Barnes and Maddison. Why not play him and Vardy together? He can play shadow striker in Iheanacho, so you can have Vardy in the number 9 anyway. But sorry, Mike, jumped in again.
No, not a problem at all, mate. No, that's fine. I was expecting you to with that because obviously you predicted it a few weeks ago and you said you need to get him out there, and he's done well.
Good player. He's a good player, that boy. I've said it all along.
And both teams hit the post in the last few minutes of the match. Schmeichel pulled off some great saves. It could have been, Burnley had a couple of good chances to finish it off there, and Leicester, have struggled slightly with these couple of injuries they've got. But either team could have won it in the end, and it was probably one of the most exciting matches of the week, to be fair to it. So good on them. So just looking forward to the weekend now. There's lots of more good fixtures coming up this week. So lots of stuff to watch. It really is a Super Sunday on Sunday, guys.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that on the second part anyway, just to go through that and with the league. But until then, we're just going to literally cut for a little break, and we'll be back with the weekend's fixtures and league table. Have a quick look at that and see what's coming up, because we're running out of games now, gents. It's not long until that end of the season is fast coming. It's been a very quick season because of obviously when we started, but we'll be back straight after this.
Tune that. Tune that, John.
Carry on, Mike. Carry on.
Great work. Great work by Chicago there. That's class. Love that, John.
To be honest with you, that tune does stay in your head all day. So be careful; it's dangerous. It does have that about it. You wouldn't think it, but don't forget, folks. If you like your wrestling, I know we're talking about football. If you like your wrestling, go over to powered4.tv. Check out all the promotions. The likes of Stu's Wrestling Podcast is on there. Do not forget that, of course. And Mike, Mad Dog, Angus is all over it with his great ring announcing at TNT Extreme Wrestling. Just one of the promotions he's at, amongst other things that he's doing with us. And boys, we'll be back on Sunday as well, 7 p.m. live, and we'll be talking about all the weekend's actions. But before we get to some of those games and when they'll be on, let's just take a quick glimpse at the league as it stands at the moment. There we are. We've got Manchester City looking very rosy at the top indeed. I mean, that's quite a stretch now, 65 points that they are on. And of course, there are, those teams have played 27, and then obviously you get down to where West Ham are, Liverpool, Spurs, and Everton. They're all in there with those 26. So there is a game in hand. But I don't always tend to stay as focused on that game in hand, because that's the one we normally lose. So everybody always says that's the one. What are you making of that so far? The league, the top, sort of, hang on, I'll tell you who we are blocking off. My arch rivals, Arsenal. Maybe I should take that off. There you go. I'm not blocking them out in case everyone thinks I'm biased. But but there we are. What do you make of that? I mean, obviously, realistically, now it's all about the top four, isn't it? Who's getting in that? Who's getting the Champions League spots? And Europa League is open to a few of us that are still in it as well. That's another way of getting in. I don't know. I've got a feeling for Spurs and Arsenal, that's probably our best opportunity, if I'm honest, at this point.
And our best opportunity is winning the bloody Champions League to get in it.
The only thing I take away from an Everton standpoint, our goal difference is meagre compared to the other teams. Have you seen how low our goal difference is?
Have a look.
Yeah, I know it's not always a fact that we're on +6. Look at everyone around us. Like even West Ham are on +9. I know you got to get the points, but sometimes we've had 3 clean sheets on the bounce though. Mm-hmm. We have been very good, but Mason Holgate isn't a natural right back, because we're so focused down the left-hand side. It's not his fault. He's just got to play there at the moment. But we've got to bust the gut to get Max Aarons. I will stand by this. We've got to get Max Aarons in. But, it's not... there's a lot of games yet, lads. We've got a third... Sorry.
I've got a serious question, but this isn't a dig. Have Everton played in the Champions League before? Serious question.
You're not digging well.
I can't remember you...
I'll remind you something very quickly, because I haven't got much time. We got screwed in the qualifier when we got 4th. Remember all that? And then Liverpool, Liverpool went in it, which was it was fine. They went in it in the end. There was a big hoo-ha over it. Anyway, Duncan Ferguson scored the goal, and it was a goal. I'm not just saying it, And Kalina, one of the best referees ever, just had a shocker, and we lost to Villarreal. We lost on that. I can't remember the goal difference. Chris, you remember?
Who was your manager then, Stu? Because I remember that.
Moisey.
Right, yeah.
So it was in the. It would have been just before the season started in 05, 06. But we had a poor season that year. Consequently, but not sour grapes about not getting in, but we did get screwed over. We should have gone through. It was a goal. Yeah, Duncan. He said he judged it was he'd like handled or something. He'd handled the player, or the usual stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's mad as well how it can affect your whole season. Some strange little thing like that can affect your whole season as well.
After getting 4th the season before and doing so well, and then we just didn't hit it at all. 4-2 overall. They are turning point.
So to get back into that, then
you've got a chance this season, definitely. I think Villa have still got a couple of games in hand more than everyone else, haven't they? But they really seem to have gone off the boil with these injuries.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think we play better. It's like everyone, you play better against the top sides because it's more open. Like last night, that's just a scrap fest, isn't it? You know what to expect, don't you? And luckily, we got the result. I prefer us playing. I don't want to jinx it for Monday, but going up against Chelsea, they're going to go for it, and we're going to, there's going to be gaps, isn't there, in behind? And Richarlison's playing well. Calvert-Lewin needs a goal, and we are dangerous on the counter. We are, but they're solid. They're solid at the back. It's been typified by the 3 clean sheets on the bounce, so very good. But need to score more goals, as you can see by the goal difference.
Hey, Stu, one thing I didn't get to mention before that, Diagne, I thought was brilliant up front for West Brom. I thought he was a great game.
I honestly, my heart sank a bit like Sonny's did when we got the 3rd at Old Trafford. I thought that's a goal, and I thought that's going to get. It's a goal. It's a goal. I was very surprised, but they were very quick when they went to it. They knew it was like a toe on it. It was like his foot. like half, like a little bit of his top end of his foot. It wasn't much; it was marginal. But Pickford should have come for that. I was just like, "What are you doing? You stayed. Like, get out for it." But they were unlucky. But that wasn't a penalty. I'll go back to it. Allardyce was up in arms. Not a penalty. No way. No chance.
I didn't see much in that, to be fair.
He got his $6.5 million payout when we sacked him. I mean, like,
good memories there, Stu. I can see. From
he got us eighth. He got us eighth. Connor Klein said, "Stu, the football wasn't very good, but we finished 12th last year. I know Carlo's that's obviously sorted, but Allardyce got us eighth, and we played defensively, but."
Bottom of the league now, the bottom half at least. Obviously, still very tight in that gap between, sort of, I don't know, you're looking at least the 15th spot could always push up into that top half, really. They got time to do it if they get in a decent run. Southampton, had such a great start at the beginning of the season. They got walloped, then they got back into it, and I thought Southampton, maybe make a stake of claim. Burnley playing well, as we said, with that result. Brighton still in there. Newcastle, I'm still not totally convinced with Newcastle. I know they got probably the best squad down there of amongst those teams, but they can easily go down. We've seen it with them before they've gone down, so they're not totally out of it. But West Brom, are you guys counting them out, or are you still giving Allardyce?
He needed something. He needed something last night against us, didn't he? Truth be told, even a point,
he's got to beat the teams around him, like cup finals. If he does that, he's got a chance. But
they should have stuck with Bilic, Chris.
Yeah, Brighton and Newcastle have got another game in hand still against a lot of the teams around them as well. You've got to think that if they pick up any points, they're pulling away, aren't they? I mean, we thought Fulham might have a chance, but it's they really need to start doing something. I honestly can't see. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're predicting Fulham will beat us at Anfield," but I think it'll be the one we show up to be honest. So, I can't see them getting any points off us.
Mike, the thing is, mate, you've said about it for months and months. Bobby Firmino's not in the goals. Mane's not been scoring, has he? Salah on 17. The amount of goals them three were scoring, Mike, if they're all firing, you're right in there. Like, it's just not been happening, has it?
That's it. So hopefully we'll turn in a bit of a performance later on in the week. And I
know.
Get it back on. Chris wants us to sign a striker, doesn't he, Chris? He can't wait for us to... he wants us to ship off some of these legends and pull in a new striker. But
I can't wait to see him on Sunday with you lot. Oh, my days.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I've told him he's not allowed to wear blue, haven't I?
Stu, if you need to run, just let me know, my friend.
I'll shoot. I will shoot. She's done me a bacon butty. Lads.
His fish has been cooking since he's come on. It's done now.
Got to get the lobster pots back in, haven't you, Stu?
Oh my days! Yeah. Let's hope there's a good catch on them. Yeah, I'll shoot. I'll let you two close out. Thank you. Cheers, lads.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stu. Thank you.
Right, mate.
See you on Sunday.
Yeah, see you Sunday, buddy. There you go, Stu Palmer. Don't forget Stu's wrestling podcast. He's got amazing amount of interviews going on up there with some incredible names. So you'll see that going. Here we got Hope, Fulham beat you. Look. There you go. He's in. He's ready for Sunday. He's warming up.
He's bitter, and Stu will be in the comments only on Sunday as well.
Oh, yeah, he'll be there. Like. Don't you worry. He'll be there, all right.
Brian Pan in one hand.
Moving ahead to the weekend, then let's look in. We've got games tomorrow. Kicking off with Burnley up against Arsenal. Should be a fairly... I mean, that's going to be quite an interesting game, given how Burnley got on with Leicester. I mean, they could give Arsenal a run there. I think that might be... I don't know. It's a tough one to call. I see a draw in that. But any prediction from you there, Mike, on that one?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Arsenal have looked a lot better in the last two games I've seen them in. And although Burnley have stepped it up, I've got a feeling Arsenal might put in an away win, so I went for 2-0 to Arsenal for that one.
Cool.
But Burnley have a lot better, as you said.
This one, Sheffield United up against Southampton. Again, it's a tough one to call because, Sheffield United, they're just playing for pride, I think, and no pressure. And that means sometimes players can play a lot better with that. And Southampton are not been on great form. So this could go either way as well. I'm going to go, surprisingly, for a home win, given what I saw last time. What about for you, buddy?
I went for a 1-1 draw in the end. But as you say, Southampton have been hit and miss. Sheffield United look to be playing a little bit better without the pressure on them, as you said. Here's Franco Varga in the comments. Good to see you, Franco. So yeah, I think I think it'll be 1-1. I think both, but on the day Southampton can show up and whip them, but recently they've just not looked quite as good. So.
Yeah, a bit of a shame of their decline. Aston Villa at home against Wolves again. This is one of those ones where both teams have had a similar run of form in a lot of ways. Not the greatest, but two very good teams on their day. I'm probably going to go just for a Wolves win, just given Jack Grealish is still out. I assume he's not back.
That's what I heard. He was going to be out for a little while. Yeah. I went for a Wolves win as well. I went for 2-1 to Wolves. Villa have just looked not as good, but then as we say, anyone can turn up on the day. And it could go either way. But
whatever we predict here, don't take our word for it. I'll tell you that much.
Don't be putting bets on it for sure.
Yeah, forget it. Brighton will be at home against Leicester. And again, another tough one to call. Leicester going away here again. And given their poor form at the minute, they just don't seem to get that rhythm at the minute that they had under Brendan. It's a little bit of a shame. But I got a feeling they're going to sneak a win here. I've gone for a Leicester win.
Yeah, same. I went for Leicester 1-0. Just a tight affair. But, it could be an interesting game. Brighton, there was earlier on this season, I loved watching Brighton. There was a couple of matches I watched, and I think it was Lamptey on the wing was looking good, and
he's a great player. He is. Yeah.
They were looking decent, but then I just think Leicester, after having a little bit of a hitch in the road, I think they'll pull it off against Brighton. But should be a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to Sunday, plenty of games, plenty of action. West Brom up against Newcastle on Prime Video there, so they're getting their games back in. But what a game this is, really. We talked about just a second ago, Mike, about, Allardyce has got to win games round him. Again, Allardyce is not short of teams. He's like Harry. He's been round everywhere. He's got some sort of connection with every club that he comes up against. And this is a prime example of that. No pun intended to the channel it's on. But that was a terrible one, really, wasn't it? I thought of that one earlier. I thought it would be funnier. No,
I like
joking.
it. That was good. I like it.
Terrible. West Brom, I've just got a feeling they're going to get the points. I think they're going to get all 3 points, and we're going to see them put on some pressure on the Newcastle, even with their game in hand. What about for you, my friend?
You know what? I went for 3-2 to Newcastle in the end. West Brom looked decent against Everton in some aspects of the game. I just think that one could be a high-scoring one. And I think if Newcastle's lad, St. Maximin, is on top form, I just think we could see a few goals there. So I've gone for 3-2. I just think Newcastle just edge it, but I think that'll be one of the games of the weekend. Should be quite a fun one.
Yeah, should be good to see. Then we got your lads, Liverpool at home. Should we call it at home advantage? I'm not sure at the moment. I'm sure they would have preferred to play away after everything that's gone down, but they get to put that behind them by playing Fulham, who are obviously down there as well. So this is another crucial game for that relegation battle, and especially for Newcastle and West Brom, they'll be looking at this, I'm sure, with eager eyes. What for you, Mike? Do you see this? I know you're only going to say one way here, but give us a score then.
Yeah, what we need to do is come out firing off the blocks like we used to, and it used to be a time when I'd watch Liverpool and I think, we're going to be 3-0 up by half time here, no issues at all. So I've gone for 3-1 to Liverpool. I'm hoping we can bag a few goals. I'd like to see something happen in the first half, because too many times we've gone in 0-0 at half time and then messed up in the second half, and then it's too late to catch back up. You're making substitutions. You can't get back into the game. I do think we do seem to concede, so I think Fulham will snatch one. I just
I've,
hope that we show up enough to get the 3.
I've predicted Liverpool in every game I've been on here that they should be winning. There's not a game I ever look at too much that I don't think Liverpool cannot win. But again, I have to say Liverpool victory for me, even though they've had a terrible run of form at home. And Fulham are a decent side, by the way. They're not to be taken lightly. But I just think Liverpool, I can't see Klopp letting them get away with anything. Even if it has to come messy and not attractive, I think it's all about the result in this one. So I think he'll have the pressure on with that. And then big game here, Manchester derby here. So it's City up against Manchester United. Obviously, Man United, the gas has gone a little bit. I think we're still, even if Man United won this, I still don't think they'd catch them at the minute. What about for you here, my friend? Who have you got for this one?
Yeah, I just think City, the way United have been the last couple of games, they could turn it on, but I've gone for Man City to win 2-0 in that one. Chris has put a bet on 9-0 to Fulham. We'll have to see if that comes any good. I wonder if he'll be playing. Could happen. Stranger things have happened, but yeah, I think we'll turn it on at the weekend. I hope so. I'd like to just watch a game and not be. I was throwing stuff about last night, so some of the ceiling tiles came off as well. When Robbo missed that shot, I was a rage moment for me. Definitely, I saw red then. I tell you.
I'll bet. I'm going to go with a City win. I just think the pressure is off. Then there's more pressure for Man United to turn up and do something. But I think it'll be one. Every time there's a big game, it is very, very tactical all the time. Like a lot of pundits have been saying, and fans, these games are the worst ones to put on telly now because they do this massive build-up and we don't get quite what we think we are because both teams are going to be quite tactical. But I think City can afford to play a little bit of an easier game because they're so far ahead. I just think the pressure's off so much. I think they'll just play and to their strengths, and I think they're going to get the victory here. Finally, on Sunday night, we've got Spurs up against Crystal Palace at home. Given our run, I have to say I think we'll be winning, but I hope so. But these are the sort of games that Tottenham are notorious for, where we lose by 1 goal or something ridiculous. So we have to be careful. But Crystal Palace, I've got to be fair. I do like Palace, but I just think they're struggling a lot this season for me. But this is a much needed. I mean, if Jose gets this, he's almost. I wouldn't say he's on a good run, but he's getting some momentum towards the finals that we're going to be playing against City, which is going to be a very, very tough ask given everything, and also the Europa games. I think that's the one he's really got to concentrate on now. But not only that, it's Arsenal next week as well, so we want to be on some form before we go into that as per normal. What any difference for you there, Mike? You got a result?
No, I went for Tottenham 2-1 in that one. So yeah. You should beat them, but Premier League, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally on the Monday night, we've got 2 games up here. We've got Chelsea kicking things off up against Everton at 6. I have gone. This is a tough one because obviously both teams are in that spot. They want to get the top 4, and given Chelsea's record, I've gone with a 2-2. I think this is going to be a draw. I'm also hoping for a draw as well. So it's both my brain and heart working together there. So it's probably going to be nothing like that.
Yeah, I think if Everton show up, they could trouble Chelsea. But I went for 1-1 in that one. I thought, I think both teams will bag a goal. But then, I think they'll struggle to break each other down. I think there'll be mutual respect between them. Could be quite a hard-hitting match, but I think it'll be, I think the rewards will be split between them.
Absolutely. And then finally, it's West Ham up against Leeds. What I would expect both teams to be putting the football down on the floor and playing carpet game of football, as I call it. And I think it'll be much like that. I've got a feeling it's going to be a high-scoring game. I am going to go just for West Ham to sneak it. I just got a feeling them playing at home will maybe help it a little bit. But David Moyes, I've heard a lot of people be quite critical of him because of what's happened recently. But I don't think overall you can be too disappointed about where he's got them. I mean, given what his resources are, I think they're overachieving by quite a stretch. So I don't know where that's coming from, but yeah, I think West Ham will sneak this, and it'll be unfortunately another Leeds defeat there. What about for you?
Yeah, Leeds have been so exciting this season, but unfortunately, they haven't been picking up as many wins in the last couple of weeks. I do think they'll grab a goal, but I think I could see West Ham winning that one 2-1, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd like Leeds to just play that sort of high intensity football and just get that last little bit right. They're just missing one piece in the puzzle at the moment, I think, and it's cost them in the last couple of weeks. As you see, they've dropped down the table dramatically, but they could have been onto something really special, but it just hasn't worked out for them. So, I think West Ham will have looked pretty steady all season, looked good at times, and I can't see, I can't see Leeds beating them, unfortunately.
Fair enough, my friend. Well, that sums up this show for the weekend that's going. Don't forget, we'll be back at 7 p.m. live on Facebook and YouTube. You can catch us then. We'll have all the aftermath of what's gone down, and then also probably unpicking what we've predicted was wrong. I'm hoping, Mike, you might come on with a victory in your pocket, and actually come on to a show.
I'm always smiling, mate. Always
you
smiling
are,
anyway.
Hey,
I'll tell you one thing, John, before we head off.
Go on, buddy.
6 years ago today, I had an exciting football trip. I won in work prize from Heineken because we got Heineken on the bar at the restaurant I was working in, and I managed to upsell the most Heineken in the whole company. So I won a trip to a Champions League match, which was Man City versus Barcelona at the City of Manchester Stadium, the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah.
So Heineken took me, and all my Heineken was free for the whole trip. So it was a great day out. And
I wonder how many of them got drunk.
Mate, I had a few that day, and it was a good game as well. It was when Suarez scored twice, I think, in the first sort of 20 minutes.
Right.
Messi missed a penalty, but it was a good game at the Etihad anyway. An exciting one for a neutral fan, and just quite an awesome day. But I tell you, played well in that game. Who really stood out that day was Rakitic. What a game he had! If you go back and watch that match, that guy, he just was insane. Some of the touches he was doing in that, and he made Suarez and Messi didn't have as good a game as Rakitic that day. But just an interesting little aside for you there.
Yeah, and I thank you for sharing that. He's a great player, Rakitic. I think he's very because he was playing in such a great Barcelona team, he got sort of overlooked a lot, probably like someone like Luka Modric, his other nationality at Real Madrid has done over the years. I know he finally ended up getting like big accolades in the end, but that was when he was like 34. But he'd been doing that all along since he left Spurs. Really, he's one of those players that just goes unrecognised without the ego. He's not doing the crazy shopping in Milan and stuff like that. They're just playing their football. But yeah, they're instrumental. Mike, where can we find you, my friend? What you got coming up? Tell us before you go.
Well, you can catch up with me on Added Time on Sunday night. I'll be here running through the weekend results, and obviously check me out on Powered 4 TV. We've got a free match today from TNT Extreme Wrestling that I announced. We've also got Wrestle Island on there, which you need to check out. And you can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just type in Mike Mad Dog Angus or Mad Dog Mike Angus, and I should appear. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Loads of photos of wrestling, and I'll have to upload a few of my footy pictures onto a separate one for you.
Yeah, we need to do a separate show for that. I think, Mike, at one point we'll get that sorted.
It, mate.
Don't forget, guys.
Memorabilia as well for you.
Yeah, I think we can get it all out. Go through that lot with some memories, I'm sure. Don't forget, guys, the interview that I did with the daughter of British Bulldog, Georgia Smith, is available now on our YouTube channel on powered4.tv. And also coming up later at 5 p.m, premiering, is our friend over from our mutual friend, in fact, Mike. JC is on from Wrestling Travel to talk about everything that Wrestling Travel do. So if you're somebody who's thinking of traveling at the moment, they've got you covered. They've also got a lot of stuff with obviously what's going on with the pandemic. It's all covered there, so don't worry about that. But he'll be telling you all the details, all the stuff about past experiences as well. So check that out. 5 p.m. today on our YouTube channel. You won't want to miss it. He's got some funny stories as well, as you can imagine. But thank you as always, Mike, for taking time out. I'm sure we've probably got most of the predictions wrong again. And I'll probably curse myself. But we'll see how we go. Until Sunday, folks, I've been John Scott. He's been my Angus. We'll see you then.
Thanks for having me, gang.